Everyone, good evening. Let's get started. Hi. So we're having a regular meeting of the David Douglas School Board today, Thursday, January 9th, 2025 at 7:03 p.m. in the David Douglas School District Boardroom on 1500 Southeast 130th Avenue, Portland, Oregon, 97233. Thanks all for being here today. And we're going to get started with our Native American land acknowledgement. Today we want to begin our meeting and our school year by acknowledging that we gather as David Douglas School District on the traditional land of the Multnomah, Wasco, Cowlitz, Clackamas, bands of Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molalla, and many other tribes, past and present, who made their home along the Columbia and Willamette rivers, and honoring with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. We further want to again acknowledge the impact of forced removal, violence, and attempted erasure of the lives and legacies of Indigenous people, past and present, and to commit to creating an educational environment that honors Indigenous history and contributions and encourages the continual pursuit of better stewardship of the land we inhabit as well. And a reading also of our mission statement. Our mission at David Douglas is to provide meaningful, equitable, and highly effective instruction so that each student grows and thrives socially, emotionally, and academically. Through supportive communities of learners, David Douglas staff will foster the whole child to be a force for positive change in global society. Thank you. And to kick us off, I'm passing it off to our student body president, Melissa Cate.
Hello and Happy New Year's, everyone. My name is Melissa Cate, and I am the student body president at David Douglas High School. So this is a pretty short recap because we did have the 2 weeks off. So prior to the 2 weeks, we did have our winter formal and we had winter week. So a bunch of activities throughout the last week of school to alleviate some stress and do whatnot. And then we went into winter break. Some well-deserved rest was given. And now we're back in school. So staff and students are getting readjusted to their regular schedules. Waking up early was not easy, but we're here. So, yeah. And we're focusing on preparing the students for finals. That's the end of this month. And then right now we're doing our Scott's Angel. Scott's Angel is a way for our David Douglas district to come as a community to help alleviate the financial burden of a child in our community that is going through health issues. This year, Scott's Angel is Olivia Evans. She's a 3-year-old who has faced septic shock and severe complications. She was placed on life support for 6 days, and her heart stopped for 30 minutes. She's facing a long recovery, including potential surgeries and amputations. Her medical expenses have exceeded $1 million. So right now, our school district is trying to raise money to alleviate that stress. As of right now, we started our annual advisory competition where basically we encourage students to bring in change on every Wednesday to collect for their advisories, and basically the advisor that has the most money, they get something out of it, but as a community we get to help someone as well. We are currently at like $2,500 on our first day, so we have more days to come. Yeah, it's really nice. And right now we're doing for at least seniors and juniors, their juniors are preparing for their SATs and ACTs to be taken, and then seniors, we're nearing the ending of college application season. We're shifting towards like scholarships and financial aid and just preparing for journey in college. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And oh yeah, Ken, please.
Do you mind?
No.
Melissa, you just shared some amazing information with me, and I am going to put you on the spot, but please know you can tell me no. I was just wondering if you'd be willing to share. I believe you got some communication over break, possibly about next year.
Oh, yeah. So over winter break, I got into my top 2 schools. So that is Howard University and North Carolina A&T. And Howard, I was gifted a $18,000 per year scholarship. Thank you. Thank you. And then I'm currently hearing back from North Carolina on the presidential scholarship. So, yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So exciting. Yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations. And thank you for sharing everything y'all have been up to, which I know is such a short time, but it's a lot. Like you said, it's adjusting, it's everything. So thank you so much. We're so proud of you. And with that, we're moving on to public comment. And we have 3 speakers today. First up is Lincoln Fisher.
Howdy. If you do not know me yet, my name's Lincoln Fisher. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Gilbert Park Elementary School. This is my 10th year with the district. I'm also our union organizer. I was recently elected elementary vice president of the David Douglas Education Association, but I've been very in different roles with the union for years now. A big part of what I do is I try to get people to come here and talk to all of you, because I really value the things that you do here at the school board, and I want our members in the union to value those things as well. Last year we did a big program. We tried to get teachers to come talk to you about the different things, the sort of crises that we face in education right now, and really not just in David Douglas, but just around the country, the things that we're facing. And you were such good listeners, and I really do thank you for that last year. It was so wonderful. This year, we have a new program where we wanted to we have this brand new contract, and we wanted to come talk about some of the wonderful things that we have now, and the good things that those are doing for our lives and our careers and the students that we serve. As that rolls out, we're going to come and talk to you about different parts of the contract, but I'm excited because tonight I get to talk to you about salary. Salary, if you don't know, was kind of the big issue within the contract throughout the bargaining campaign. We did lots of interviews, and our members told us again and again, salary, salary, salary. It was really what was so important. And so we've had 2 new paychecks now with a new salary rate, and I kind of wanted to talk about what that does, just for I'm an average educator like me. And the way that, just that bit can kind of change our lives a little. So when I started at David Douglas, I was always very happy with my compensation. You know, I'm a minimum wage kid. I came to education from things like being a waiter and things like that, you know. And so to be able to kind of work professionally, I loved having health insurance, and I loved getting, you know, a good paycheck and things like that, and being able to buy a home. And we always made it, my wife and I, from one month to the next, paycheck to paycheck. And there wasn't a lot left over, but we always got by, and it was great. And then the pandemic happened, and it seemed like very quickly, suddenly the paycheck that had always gotten me from one month to the next just didn't anymore. And so we did sensible stuff. We made changes to our lives. We made cuts. We kind of thought about what was really important, and still the stretch was hard, and life was getting a lot leaner. And you just have to start doing things that you kind of hate. You hate to kind of work very hard and then ask family to borrow money and things like that. And that was a part of my life for the last couple years now, 3 maybe years, things like that. And so we won this new contract, and we did it extraordinarily by working together, just bringing all of our membership out in force to kind of activate this union power and win something big. And I like to think that we did it with all of you as well. I felt like we were all together in those bargaining sessions trying to work out the very best for everybody. And so I value what we came up with quite a bit. And so 2 months in now, it's not a life-changing amount, the dollar amount that my paycheck is different now, but it feels very different. I can say that for the last 2 months, My paycheck has gone from 1 month to the next. I paid bills like early in the month as the check comes in, and it was not gone after I did that, which felt so wonderful. And then there's the holidays, right? The holidays come, and it's I love the holidays. They're a wonderful time, but they can be hard too, right? And this was a very wonderful holiday time. My wife's family, they're getting older, and we flew out to New Mexico to see them, and so we really like each holiday that we get to spend with them now is like very precious, you know, because we know that we don't know how many more of those there are. We have to like get everyone that we can, and so things like that just were so out of reach 3 months ago, 4 months ago, like are graspable at this point. And I don't want to paint a picture where all problems are solved now by any means, but just like breathing a tiny bit easier while doing like a job that is very rewarding but also very difficult is so much nicer now. And so thank you for the part you played in this contract. I really do appreciate that, especially as it is School Board Appreciation Month. Thank you for all that you do. And the service that you provide to this community. And I look forward to bringing more exciting things from our brand new contract to you throughout this school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Lincoln. Next, Amy Fennell.
Hello. I am the lone volunteer that will speak in front of people at my school. No, yes, it's true. So I have some thoughts from Gilbert Heights on the same area of the contract negotiations and salary. So this is in first person, but it is not necessarily me. So you'll have to try to figure that. You don't have to figure it out. But so I'm Amy Fennell, and I have been an employee of David Douglas for over 21 years. And I started at Gilbert Heights as an assistant while I was doing, and then I went and did my master's, and I worked in the behavior program with Amy Boothby. And then I was able to go back to Gilbert Heights after student teaching at Earl Boyles for just 1 half of a year, Mr. Dibbles. And I was able to go back to Gilbert Heights, and I've been there ever since. And I've taught 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, a 4-5 blend, and now I'm in my 2nd year of teaching music. So here are some thoughts from Gilbert Heights staff. The staff at Gilbert Heights would like to appreciate some things in regard to aspects of our new contract. Thank you. We appreciate the work that we did together. The hard-fought effort of both the union and the district throughout the whole bargaining process is really apparent in the new contract. Action items that put the trust of the job into the teacher's hands, such as extra prep time, really allows me as a new parent and first-year teacher to feel more present and intentional. Obviously not me. I find that I am able to more adequately meet the demands of being both a mom and a teacher, and that I'm not in a constant struggle of having to choose one over the other. I feel valued as both a proud DDSD employee and a person with a life worth living, and for that I'm very grateful. As highly qualified individuals, the autonomy to have teacher-directed Wednesdays in order to complete tasks that would otherwise fall by the wayside is so helpful, especially in the case of educators that are new to our district who are trying to navigate tons of new curriculum and systems. And finally, as a veteran DDSD teacher, having the autonomy to be able to use the teacher-directed time increases how valued I feel by our district, dare I say, having a feeling of liberation. We were all hired as professionals to do a job which we trained for and continue to train for. And being the one section of educators told when and what and how to do things has taken time away from creativity on the instructor side. It feels really good to have some of the time back in which we can use that time that we see as we see fit to make our jobs feel more like our job and not just as a cog in a machine. Thank you guys so much for what you do. You are all very much appreciated, school board and cabinet alike. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Casey Powell. Oh, can you turn on the mic, please? Oh, turn it on. There's a little button in front of you. Thank you.
How's that? All right, great. Hi, it's Cassie Powell. I am a first-year teacher. Well, not first-year teacher, but first year to this district and first time teaching 5th grade. This is only slightly more intimidating than 35th graders. So I'm glad to be here. I'm here representing Earl Boyles, and I'd like to echo everything that I've heard from the last 2 speakers. I had the honor of talking to the teachers today and learning from them the some positive impacts from the contract, and I'd like to share those with you. Like I said, many of the things have already been said. There were 3 things that came up. Mainly, the salary increase has been a big impact on our lives. People talked about being able to buy groceries, being able to pay for gas, being able to pay for childcare, and not having to dip into savings. It really struck me, nobody's going to Hawaii, right? Nobody's buying a new car. These are not things that are necessarily increasing our lifestyle. They're just making our lives a little bit easier. They're leveling the playing field. The second thing that came up was the Wednesday directed teacher meeting time. It matters so much to us that we are able to decide how we spend our time. We need to plan. Sometimes we need to just be in our classrooms and organize. Sometimes we need to use that time for meetings with parents. Many of these tasks fall on our own time outside of contract hours. And those couple hours a month make a big difference. So many of the teachers wanted to say thank you for giving us that time. And I think the last speaker spoke to this too. We feel respected as teachers to be allowed to make those decisions for ourselves as professionals. And it's a morale booster for us to be able to be given that respect. So thank you. And finally, the thing that hasn't been mentioned tonight is the insurance premiums being raised, or however you say that. But a lot of us teachers have kids. We provide benefits for our families. We're the sole, member of our families with benefits, and being able to go to the doctor and not have a copay. That also then gets into salary issues, right? So the fact that we don't have to use that money from our paycheck, we can just be able to be confident that those things are going to be taken care of is a huge burden off of our shoulders. So thank you for that. And thank you for all your hard work. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Going on to student comment. I don't know if we had any students sign up. Not hearing any. Going to DDEA comment. Hi.
Happy New Year. Welcome back. I hope that you all enjoyed your holidays, however you celebrate them. I know that our staff enjoyed their 2 weeks off and are back and serving students this week. I feel like this week is 2 weeks crammed into one. I don't know about anybody else, but it's kind of been a whirlwind, and the fact that it's Friday tomorrow is shocking to me. Anyway, I would like to start off my report tonight with super happy news. We are very excited that on Monday we found out that the Multnomah Early Childhood Program gets to stay in David Douglas. Woo! This was an extremely stressful process for our staff. I can't emphasize that enough. I get very emotional about it because the way the process works is wrong. And the way this process worked was wrong. And we will be following up on that later. The process included a lot of waiting, and that for those staff members to be unsure of who would be their place to land, and was so uncertain and just jarring for people in a stressful job that we already have. Having that stress put upon them by no choice of their own and no fault of their own just seemed wrong. In addition to that, the decision was delayed twice. So we were supposed to find out before break. Then we were told that we would find out during break, and we didn't find out until 10 a.m. on the Monday after. So, as I said, further discussions need to be had at the state level. We invite you to join us in those conversations because we know that this board and this district wanted MECP to stay here. The staff members asked me to express their thanks and appreciation for the support of this board and this district leadership in knowing that they were wanted here and that they weren't pawns in a game. Through bargaining, they saw the support of this district. They've been here for a while now, and they're very happy to be staying. And we believe that this is the right place for that program because it has not only grown, but it has thrived. And the way that they are able to provide services to students and families throughout Multnomah County is just amazing. And we're proud of them. All right. Whew. Thanks. This month is School Board Appreciation Month, and I just want to recognize the fact that school board members are volunteers. I don't know if everybody knows that y'all are volunteers, and you dedicate a ton of time in not only coming to these meetings every month and sharing the joy with all of us of a long meeting, but you have taken on the task of learning about our school district, about how it runs, about what we do, and you endeavor to make it better. And that is not unseen. You have all assigned yourselves as liaisons to our schools, which I appreciate because it means that you're willing to learn about what's happening in our schools, and it's not number crunching, and it's not your separate agenda that you bring to this board. As I was preparing for this meeting, I was reflecting on my varied experiences with school boards through the 28 years that I've been an employee in David Douglas. And while we may not always agree or see things the same way, I truly appreciate the willingness of this board to engage in authentic conversation and problem solving. It means a lot. As I talk with leaders around the state, I feel so lucky. We don't come to these board meetings and yell at each other. We don't put each other down. And we don't battle over agendas that have nothing to do with the quality education that we are here to provide for our students. So thank you. As a token of appreciation, we have a little something for you that I hope that you'll enjoy and wear with pride.
Thank you so much. Heck yeah. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And next is OC OSCE. Why can't I talk? OSCEA comment. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I need to drink water. My throat is a little dry. Thank you.
Following Stephanie is really difficult, by the way. And so, Happy New Year to all. On behalf of the Classified Union and classified staff and David Douglas School District, I want to extend our gratitude during School Board Appreciation Month. Your dedication, leadership, and commitment to the success of our schools and community do not go unnoticed. The decisions you make and the countless hours you devote help create an environment where students, staff, and families thrive. Classified staff deeply appreciate your support and advocacy for the work we do to keep our schools running smoothly and to ensure that students have resources they need to succeed. We are proud to work alongside you in serving our district. Thank you for your continued efforts with David Douglas to help make David Douglas a place of excellence and opportunities for all. We are very appreciative for the board that we get to work with, and we don't have individual gifts, but we have a donation to DDEF, which we do each year, so in honor for your name. So thank you so much all, and have a great new year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Darla. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks, y'all. I really feel appreciated. Thank you. And on next to our invited public input. So we have here to celebrate the recognition of Slavic Heritage Month. We have folks from Gilbert Park Elementary School. Thank you all for being here. Welcome. Hi.
Hi. I got to model being loud enough for my friends here because it's tough for me too. I'm Peter Martin. I'm a speech pathologist at Gilbert Park, but I'm here as a member of our equity team at Gilbert Park. But I brought some friends along with me, and we're here to talk about Slavic Heritage Month. And then, do you want like an advance cue? Just advance or give you a wink? All right, I'm going to let everybody else introduce themselves around here. This pen down.
Hi, my name is Arena, and I'm in 3rd grade.
Hi, my name is Miriam, and I'm in 3rd grade.
Hi, my name is Erica, and I'm in 5th grade.
Oh, and I neglected to mention that there are members of our student equity team and then Slavic Club. And then I'll talk about that a little bit more once we get into it. So there's a couple slides that are just more for the kind of district slideshow, and then we'll have some slides where we talk about Gilbert Park specifically. But the first one's just a definition of Slavic and kind of the dictionary definition around Slavic language. And then the distinctions of the Eastern, Western, and Southern Slavic groups, which are geographically distinct and have some different backgrounds and practices. We have a little map up there. It's hard to see, but once you see the slideshow, you can enlarge that, and it shows you the distinct areas, the Pan-Slavic colors that are indicated below that. And then there's a little asterisk there, and that's just talking about Gilbert Park, Slavic community. Also included within that are any people who come from nations in the former Soviet Union and have that kind of shared historical background. And that includes families who don't necessarily speak a Slavic language, but they might speak Turkish or Romanian, but they're still considered part of our greater kind of Slavic community at Gilbert Park. Advance. We got a slide that just has the flags representing those different Slavic countries by the East, West, and Southern region. Oh, I remember, it just came to me. On the last slide, you don't need to go back, but somebody that's not mentioned in the slideshow, but I want to shout out to is Irina Rodnyova, who's one of our assistants for our ELD program, and she's also contributed to the information that I've kind of gathered for this and that we're presenting. So I just wanted to shout her out really quick. But you can advance again. I don't know where that space came from. It's full disclosure, but It's just a brief slide about culture and history, some quick facts about Slavic culture. So we have some stuff about religion, the main practices of Eastern Orthodoxy, Catholicism, and Islam. And that's, again, more of a geographical distinction a lot of the time around history and geography. Talking about history, there are some famous Slavs, like we just found some fairly typical ones to talk about, kind of surface level stuff. Tchaikovsky, Dostoevsky, and Pavlov, who are music, literature, and science based people who kind of gave us some really great contributions that we want to appreciate. A lot of this is just kind of like, take a look at this and take a deeper dive. And then a little shout out to the space race winners, the former Soviet Union, now making that Sputnik 1 launch historically. And then there's some little pictures there. I tried to go for all Creative Commons licensing, so it's not infringed on anything, I don't think. You can advance again. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know how that formatting happened either, but that part, obviously Park shouldn't be overhanging that, but I'll read through that so you can see what it says or hear what it says. Previously, in previous years, we've done a coffee talk series, and those are invitations from our principal to different backgrounds and diverse heritage groups that we have at the school. For our Slavic heritage, we had those members of the community come in and share their experiences, thoughts, and concerns with our principal at the time. So we got a little picture of that. We have our ERCO made Heritage Month board that changes with our Heritage Months and is mostly done by our son's school coordinator along with some parent input, and that's an ERCO immigrant and refugee. I'm blanking, but it's an organization that helps with those kind of things. So I'm then going to kind of stop talking momentarily to let our students who are with us share a little bit more specifically about Gilbert Park's celebration of Slavic heritage.
Over 70 Gilbert Park students speak Ukrainian or Russian. That's over 13% of our students at Gilbert Park. Slavic Club helps to put on Slavic-related events like a sing-along of a Ukrainian folk song at one of our assemblies. We also performed a play based on a Russian folk tale at back-to-school night.
And those are very highly engaging performances that they did. The students really like to see other students out there doing their thing and representing their cultures, so it was really cool to see. We can advance.
Slavic Club is an after-school Sun School class funded and supported by ERCO. It meets weekly during sun, fall, winter, and spring terms. Sun School consists of mostly Russian and Ukrainian students, although any member of Gilbert Park Slavic community is welcome. Students in 1st through 3rd work with Lilia, while students in 4th and 5th work with Julia.
And throughout we have pictures of Slavic Club activities happening in the slideshow, and Lilia and Julia are both here with us, helping us out with this whole thing. So they are part of ERCO and Sun School, which is invaluable resource in terms of like community resource that we have. I can't say enough about them because our student equity team is also a Sun School funded and supported by ERCO, who pays me for that too. So just to thank you to them. And then you can advance.
Slavic Club is an opportunity for Slavic people to gather together and learn about their heritage through storytelling, history, music, and arts and crafts. Slavic Club is a way for us to learn about their lives and history of our ancestors and where we come from, a place to practice our traditions, and a place to have fun and share food.
Thank you all. So those more pictures of stuff that happens at Slavic Club. Again, a huge thank you to Erko and Sons School, setting that up and keeping that as a thing that's going. Trying to think if there's something else on that, but you can go advance. Oh, so we have some classroom resources. Oh, I remember what it is now. I'm one of those people that just processes stuff slowly. I was going to ask our friends who are joining us what their favorite part about participating in Slavic Club is. So, Arena?
My favorite part is the reading and the food.
And Miriam?
My favorite part is the food and the arts and crafts.
And Erica?
My favorite is food and traditions.
So there's a common theme there, which is food. Actually, beyond student equity team, or beyond the Slavic Club, student equity team is also people like their food at any events, and GP events. People really like food too. So make food, and people will come. The next slide is just classroom resources for primary and secondary grades. Includes some arts and crafts, some stories, read-alouds, some current events and news. I knew in the slideshow when I tried to advance it that the video triggered, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but we're not watching the video. We're just going to advance to the last slide. That is just another slide about local events that unfortunately had happened on the 3rd, coming up on the 12th, and then some community resources for the kind of greater Northwest Slavic community to click on. They're all active links that you can follow. Once we share out the slideshow, or the district equity department shares out the slideshow, or I'm not in charge of that chain, so don't come for me. Last of all, I don't think we're over time. No? Okay. So I want to thank the board for having us here, inviting us to talk about something that's important to our school and community and our Slavic community. Also, because it's like the Board Appreciation Month, I want to thank you all for what you do here. I'm a David Douglas resident. When we bought our house, it was important to be close to work and the community that was important to us. So I live like 2 blocks away in Mill Park. So I've seen things for joining board membership or budget committees and things, and they're very quickly recycled. So I know the commitment and hard work that would take to even consider. So thank you for doing that as well. And my friends who are with us, do you want to add anything?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, and I also hope that there will be more members of Slavic Club.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you for presenting and coming to talk to us. Yeah, folks, if you're in Gilbert Park and you want to join the Slavic Club, it looks like they're looking for people. So tell your kids. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you. And thanks everyone. That was really, really sweet. Up next, something, not typically thought of sweet, but we're going on to the auditor's report. But very important. So I think the auditor, is online. Yes. Okay, awesome.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Cool.
Good evening.
So it's like 5 seconds delayed from what I'm saying, so I just wanted to make sure. I think I can hear you a little bit through the Zoom camera as well, so I'll just go ahead and start talking. If anything crazy happens, someone just flag me that. I'll pause for a moment. Just want to thank the board for having this evening. My name is David Bledsoe. I'm an audit supervisor with Polly Rogers & Co. CPA firm here in Tigard, Oregon. It's been a pleasure to work with the district now for, I believe, the 4th year in a row. To kind of get the presentation started early. The good news is your business office is one of the best that I work with annually. I work with close to 24 school districts and ESDs across the state. It's always a pleasure to work with Pat and Paul to put together both the audit report as well as to kind of dig through the checks and all the fun stuff we have to do for the audit. It looks like you have a copy of the governing board letter up on the share screen. If we could scroll to the middle of page 2. Yeah, what we're on just now, I think maybe page 3, if that's page 1. Apologies, I'm a little gravelly. I've been fighting a cold for the past few weeks here. Yeah, if we're able to scroll down that a bit. No, I don't have the screen share turned on, but I'll just go ahead and start talking while we're ordering that out. If the board members have a copy of the governing board letter, perhaps on paper, if you could flip to page 2, as far as numbered page 2. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4 there, that's really the highlight reel of the audit that goes over what we found and in this case, what we didn't find. The first one deals with the financial statements as a whole. This year, I think they're about 240 pages. Quite a long read in case anyone can't fall asleep this morning. The good news there, all the numbers reconcile, they're clear, neutral, and they represent the totality of the certain activities. The second one refers to our work on state minimum standards. That's things like reporting of teachers' years of experience, registrar reporting at your different school sites, as well as purchasing law. Did you get your bids and quotes as needed? We found no issues there as well. The third one on the list is about the federal awards that refers to your federal single audit. This year we did 3 single audits over the child nutrition cluster. That includes the National School Lunch Program and other programs that help fund different nutrition programs at various school sites. The second one we did is ESSER. That was really that big ticket pandemic era funding that allowed a variety of school activities to be funded. And the third one we did was early intervention. That's often referred to as IDEA Part C. It deals with getting students that need the help early, the help that they need. The fourth one on that list is just saying you didn't give you a management letter. A management letter is what you don't want. That refers to significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, which are really items that the board needs to directly address. They could be failures of controls, numbers that really went awry. We had none of those. Below that, there's just kind of a boilerplate sentence about no new accounting policies were entered. So the rules that the financials followed last year are consistent with the ones that they followed this year. There was a new GASB. GASB refers to the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, who writes audit law, or excuse me, not audit law, rather, but accounting rules. A new one of those went into effect this year, but it only matters if you have to restate numbers, as in you made a mistake last year. There was none of that. If you keep scrolling down, there's 2 full pages of exciting new accounting rules coming up in the future. Those are GASB statements 101 and 102. I'm happy to delve into those in detail to the extent that anyone wants to hear me talk about that. They deal with compensated absence reporting as well as risk disclosures. They're a bit technical in nature and are unlikely to have a substantive impact on your financial statements. Outside of that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have about our role as auditors, what we didn't find as far as the testing or anything about your financial report. Again, it's quite a beefy one this year. It's about 240 pages, but it is your business office does a great job putting it together.
Thank you, David. Does anyone have any questions for David or Pat?
Just for the 7th year in a row, this is the most boring report ever, which is a positive thing, which is just goes to show what a great job Pat and your team is doing, especially as you're so understaffed. So it's really nice to see, yet again, a boring report.
Thank you, and I do want to give a shout out to Paul Rodman, who does a bulk of this work. We kind of split it. I do budget, he does the annual report, and to all the team, because they really pulled through and got this done, even though, as you can hear, David has a cold also. So we kind of went through a cycle in our office, and now David was virtual, so he didn't get it from us.
Thank you, Pat and team. Erin, did you have something? Yeah. No, wonderful job.
I think I'm only hearing y'all through the laptop as we're in Zoom, so the microphones, I don't know if we're pumping in to be the same. Happy to jump on a question if there is one. I do see Pat over there, so good to see you, Pat. Thank you again for helping.
No, it doesn't seem to be any questions. We're just appreciating Pat and team, and thank you for your work as well. Thank you so much. It's very easy breezy, no major questions, as there is also no major findings, so that's great. So thank you for your time, David, tonight. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Bye. Okay, so we have to, I get approve, or do we have to create an action? So, do I hear a motion?
I'd like to move to accept the audit report on behalf of the board.
I'll second.
All right, that's been moved in second. So move on to a vote, starting with Barrow.
Barrow, aye.
Ender, aye.
Saldana Lopez, aye.
Franklin, aye.
Johnson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Win, aye.
Awesome, and it has been so moved. Thank you all. So our audit report has been accepted. Thank you. Going on next to consent agenda, and before we make a call motion or for a motion, I want to make a note that we're pulling out the approval of the December retreat workshop minutes. They're not complete yet, so we're pulling them for this month and bringing it back next month. But otherwise, unless there's someone or someone else has anything else to pull, then I can move to a motion with that amendment.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, it has moved in second. So going on to roll call vote, started with
Can
Win.
we do discussion?
Oh, yes, discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a couple quick questions. One is around adding 20,000 to the Arthur Academy contract. I'm just wondering what that's for. That's my first question.
Yeah, so we passed through part of the SIA grant as well as the art tax, and so my estimate was a little bit low.
Thank you, that clarifies. And then the second one was around the sole source agreement. Can you describe more than what we got in the sole source agreement, what exactly we're buying and how much that is going to be?
I'm going to turn that over to Brooke because that's hers.
Yeah. So this is from, you heard Jen Busher talk about it at our last board meeting, and so we are partnering with Creative Leadership Solutions to support the high school administration in doing something really hard in looking at grading practices and how do we revisit grading practices in secondary, and since we know that impacts high school graduation. So this company, and it's going to be Linda Mansell, who is a former David Douglas employee, and this is a company of Doug Reeves, who's a very well-respected researcher in the field of education. It's a national company. And so she'll be working with the high school leadership and for Ridge to talk about grading practices and support like implementation of changes. And I don't have the exact amount in front of me, but it's like, I want to say it's like $37,500. It includes on-site visitations and outside meetings and working with the whole administrative team, working with some of the division chairs and doing some of that work.
That's great. I mean, I totally appreciate that. I'd just like to know like exactly like how many hours and how much, you know, what exactly we're getting for that. When it comes to us, I'll be taking a look. So thank you for the clarification.
I can send you the proposal too, if you want to see the whole proposal.
I kind of do. Yeah, I love it. You know, equity and grading practices, huge deal. But
I'll send it.
Just curious.
I'll send it to all of you, just in case.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Going to call for a vote, starting with Barrow.
Barrow, aye.
Ender, aye.
Saldana Lopez, aye.
Franklin, aye.
Gummer aye.
Stevens, aye.
Wynn, aye.
All right, it has been so moved. Thank you all. Going to superintendent report. Take it away,
Thank you.
Ken.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy New Year to the entire board, to everyone. I've got to connect with it, but fairly good audience tonight, so Happy New Year to everyone. It's truly great to see you and welcome back. Really excited to be back, although I will say the break was great. I think we all always need it, but it's a good opportunity. I know I had a lot of time with family, which I so appreciate, but ultimately it's also nice to get back. I do concur with Stephanie. It feels like 2 weeks maybe we've been going, and tomorrow's Friday, and trying to reconcile schedule, but the bottom line, it's been a very positive week, and really excited about the transition back and doing great work for kids. So that's one. I have two things for my superintendent's report tonight, and both of them have already been shared and celebrated. So the thunder's already out, for lack of a better term. But I will add to a little bit, two pieces. One is that we were awarded Region 6 EIECSE contract. And so proud of that. Not necessarily proud that we got it, but proud that we keep it, because this idea that MECP is a separate program, I really want to acknowledge and recognize it's our program. I know it's part of the state, and I know we have to go through it, but that program is our program. It's like looking at our alternative school or looking at our online program. It's ours. I truly feel that way. I believe that way. They're our employees, our colleagues, our friends. So, and the one word that Stephanie mentioned was uncertainty. You can imagine someone that's an employee saying, okay, where am I going to be and how is this going to play out? With everything that's going on in personal life, in the world, it's truly, I'll use the word unfair. It's a system, it's a state level system. We definitely are at the same table with Stephanie saying, okay, how do we talk about this? Because this is not healthy, it's not a good system. But ultimately, the decision was made. We're very happy about the decision. We're excited about the decision. And one example, I'll tell you, the director, Jeanette, all of you at this table know her, she sent the email out that, great news, and the waterfalls, the emails that came back, and yippee, hooray, yay, it's just, that positivity was real exciting. And so I'm just excited to echo that sharing of the information. So with that said, the second thing I had was, we love our school board. It's front and center back there. We have a poster, and ultimately it's school board appreciation. And I get the privilege of reading a proclamation here to the entire board. But before I do that, really again echoing what our classified leadership and licensed leadership said. Just a tremendous thank you. Just gratitude. The time you spend, the energy, the passion, the care, the support, the belief, the trust, the willingness to push back, the willingness to question, the willingness to stay curious. All of that, I think you heard from our community is felt, and I know the cabinet team, our administrative team, all the way through our staff feel it. We know that you care and are in these seats because you care about our community, you care about our staff, you care about our parents, families, and our kids. And I just want to say thank you, colleagues, friends. Some of you I know better than others. Some of you get texts from me all the time because you're in different roles. Some of you were in those roles and get those texts. But the reality is you can't argue your care for kids and your vision to stay student focused. Can feel it, and I just so appreciate it. I'm not going to talk about the functionalities of other boards and kind of how that is. I don't want to go there, but the reality is it's well said, because we often say this, we're different by design. There's a lot of things we're proud of doing differently in David Douglas, from bargainings to relationships to different things that we do intentionally. And I think this board, leads that and demonstrates that. So thank you so much for your willingness to do that. I'll even say this. I think there's some boards that wouldn't even wear those t-shirts, and there's no doubt in my mind that you got those t-shirts with pride, right? So just thinking about that is just a reality. So thank you. And I'm going to take a moment and point of privilege here to read to you a proclamation from our governor and our Secretary of State. So State of Oregon Proclamation, Office of the Governor. Whereas Oregonians rely on public education to ensure a prosperous quality of life and strong economic health for Oregon, and whereas locally elected boards fulfill leadership roles and serve as a conduit through which Teachers, parents, business, and communities demonstrate the care, creativity, and support that leads student achievement, and public schools nurture and train diverse student populations to give students the knowledge, skills, and opportunities they need to succeed. And whereas the board members build the framework that make it possible for education organizations to teach Oregon's children. And whereas we thank the committed community members who serve on the boards of Oregon's 197 school districts, 19 education service districts, and 17 community colleges and 7 public universities for their dedication to the education needs of Oregonians. Therefore, Tina Kotek, our governor of the state of Oregon, hereby proclaims January 25th to be School Board Recognition Month. And we're celebrating tonight, although it's on January 25th, it's the recognition. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have a little bit to give you a brief break. I know we probably won't take time to open everything right now, maybe wait till the end. But a few things to say thank you.
You give that to Flock, Gabriella, Heather.
Yeah. Thank you. You can't work. You guys are on the agenda, not me. I'm just. So quickly for the audience and for everyone to hear, you might remember the tradition last year. We reached out to the schools where your liaisons, and the schools kind of gave swag and other things. So you'll see just different things from the schools. We have some crafts here that some schools made, shirts, water bottles, different things. So I know you deserve much more, but the reality is our schools were so proud to share some of their great swag with their liaison. So that's really what it is as you start to dig in. Also in there is the proclamation, a letter of thanks from me, and then a certificate, just as a board member to say thank you. So again, thank you and happy Board Appreciation Month. Look forward to many more months and years to come. So thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, and even our schools who are not here but have contributed something. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I'm like, I get shy. I'm like, but really appreciate it. We want to go into our next, which is an agenda item. It is a second read of the DDSD Resolution on Safe and Welcoming Schools for All Students. And so this is an action item and a second read. So,
well, I, Madam Chair, would like to move approval of the DDSD Resolution on Safe and Welcoming Schools for All Students.
I'll second.
Awesome has moved in second. Is there discussion? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for me, and I really appreciate this board for bringing this forward. I know it means a lot to our community, and for folks out there, know that we have your back. Yeah. And so, yeah. Anyways, if there is none, then we'll start with. Oh yeah, Jose.
I will say that after we pass this resolution, I talked with Althea at least about the policy team bringing a policy change to the student section where it says we don't discriminate on all certain reasons, and adding immigration status to that, so that it's not just a resolution but actually in our policy. But we'll be bringing that forward in the next meeting probably.
just want to appreciate all the work that's been done by so many folks on this resolution and the policy that is to follow. Thanks.
I feel immensely blessed to be in a district and have my kids attending school in a district that's so diverse. It just adds so much to the rich tapestry to their lives. I think they're going to be so much better for it. Thank you, Tay, for you and your team, all the work you put into this. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Gabby and Heather, for bringing this to the front so fast. It means a lot to be part of a board in a district that would lift up our community's concern in such a major way. Thank you.
Althea, did you have something?
I'll just echo that we've identified some policy changes that could come from a resolution like this, but a resolution like this is a message from the board, from your district to everyone in the community. So if there are things that you see that could be better based on the values expressed in this resolution, this is a warm welcome for those thoughts.
I'll ask my question. I was asking, are we going to read this after, assuming it passes? Do we vote? Do we read? We should read it? Okay. Let's do it. And I also just want to note that we are ahead of schedule, and I think we were potentially expecting some guests. So I'm glad if we can, continue to record.
I know we didn't. I did say that we could be early on this, but not this early. Yeah, but anyways, if that's the end of discussion, then
more. I also just want to really appreciate our union partners and working together with us too. So after the first read, we everybody came to the table on this, and so the work here is everybody, and I really appreciate everybody for contributing and helping to add to this and refine this and so forth. So it's being read by the board, but also just it's everybody, and I'm really grateful for that. We're all value aligned on this.
Thank you. And so now we are ready to move to the vote, starting with board member Nguyen.
Nguyen, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Gamera Jerson, aye.
Franklin, aye.
Saldana Lopez, aye.
Ender, aye.
Barrow, aye.
It has so been moved. And now we're going to read the resolution in full in the style that we usually do, so taking turns. But you'll pass. Okay. Except Director Nguyen. So starting with Stephanie, can you start us off? Or?
Yeah. Multnomah County School District Number 40, David Douglas School District Resolution on Safe and Welcoming Schools for All Students, regardless of national origin, immigration status, or documentation status, whereas all persons have the potential to contribute to the health, well-being, and general welfare of our community and district as families, neighbors, workers, and taxpayers, and
whereas, according to the district's enrollment data, more than 70% of students are students of color, and enrolled families speak up to 76 different languages, including but not limited to Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Somali, and
whereas in the 2024-2025 school year, 24% of all staff are people of color, including 31% of classified staff, 17% of licensed staff, and 23% of administration, supervisors and managers, and confidential staff, reflecting the district's commitment to creating a workforce that mirrors the diversity of its student population, and
whereas the physical safety and emotional well-being of all children in the district is top priority, the district does not tolerate any form of discrimination, harassment, or bullying as outlined in its policies AC and ACB, and
whereas we recognize that national events, including threats of mass deportation and the current political climate, have caused uncertainty and anxiety for many in our communities, and that we share in the responsibility to respond to these circumstances on behalf of David Douglas School District, educational professionals, students, and families. And
whereas DDSD students, staff, and their families come from many different countries, may have received temporary immigration status under Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, may be undocumented, and or may live in mixed status households where some members are undocumented while others have temporary or permanent immigration status, and
whereas the ability of DDSD students to achieve would be negatively impacted by the arrest or detention of their family members and caregivers through the actions of governmental and law enforcement agencies, for example, ICE, and the district has established procedures to protect and care for such students to mitigate the trauma they might experience.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that DDSD will work alongside its union partners, the Oregon Department of Education, and immigration advocates to provide training and support for students, staff, and their families on immigrant rights, understanding various immigration statuses, and the overall health and well-being of those affected to the best of our ability.
DDSD will provide multilingual resources for its students, staff, and their families in partnerships with local organizations addressing immigration assistance, immigrant rights, mental health care, and public safety to the best of our ability.
DDSD will include in its legislative agenda advocacy at the state and federal levels for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, Temporary Protected Status, TPS, and refugee resettlement programs, as well as oppose any legislation for the creation of a Muslim registry system or the erosion of civil rights protections.
DDSD will work alongside educators and Oregon Department of Education staff to maintain a curriculum that reflects our students' identities and lived experiences, ensuring schools remain spaces where students feel safe, welcome, and valued for who they are.
as informed by our current equity and strategic plan and mission statement, David Douglas SD will continue to commit to ensuring all students thrive in supportive and inclusive environment, regardless of immigration status.
DDSD will not provide assistance to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, in the enforcement of federal civil immigration laws. ICE will not be permitted access to DDSD facilities or personnel, except in the rare instances in which DDSD is provided with a criminal warrant.
DDSD will continue to monitor and strengthen its policies and practices to address systemic inequities and ensure all students thrive in a supportive and inclusive environment.
As referenced in Board Policy AC, DDSD embraces, celebrates, and welcomes the contributions of all persons, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, national or ethnic origin, marital status, age, disability, pregnancy, family status, economic status, or veteran status, and their association with these identities.
Be it further resolved, DDSD staff may not inquire about a student's immigration status or that of their family members and caregivers, nor disclose personal information without parental consent, consistent with the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, and relevant laws.
The district complies with ORS 181A 820, which provides that no law enforcement agency of the state of Oregon or of any political subdivision of the state shall use agency monies, equipment, or personnel for detecting or apprehending persons whose only violation of law is that they are persons of foreign citizenship present in the United States in violation of federal immigration laws.
The district prohibits the use of district funds, personnel, or equipment for the enforcement of federal immigration law.
Within the next 30 days, the superintendent shall report to the board on the implementation and completion of training for relevant staff and volunteers on how to respond to and notify families about requests from government and law enforcement agencies for information about David Douglas students and families and or attempts to enter David Douglas property, as well as to support students whose family members and or caregivers have been displaced by any such agency.
And therefore, this resolution has been adopted by the David Douglas School Board. Thank you all for reading that with us. And I also have a note that Melissa McCoy with Latino Network is here. And if you would like to come up and give any statement or provide any further comment.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hola. No, I just wanted to make sure that the board acknowledges that one of our long-term partners is here in support of this resolution, and that is Melissa McCoy, the Director of Educational Access and Programs. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa, for being here, and for all our partners who work with our immigrant and refugee communities. It really means a lot to have your support here, and it means a lot to our families and our students, and having your presence tonight means a lot, but also know that there's a lot of folks not here, and we appreciate their partnership and working with folks in our community. I think so many of our families are immigrants or refugees, and so having this, I know, means a lot. So thank you, everyone, all the work that's been done. Jose?
When we post this on our website, is it possible to post it in different languages? Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. And moving to the approval of district calendar for 2025-2026 school year, action item with Andy.
Yes, okay. I'm hearing things about staying on schedule. I will keep us going. Then we have 10 minutes here. I don't think this will take that long. You see here the district calendar. It's hard to believe that we are already looking into 2026. We just celebrated 2025. So here you see the main thing is we try to line up our district calendar with local universities and other local districts. And we've done that here with our calendar for next year. And I think it might make a lot of people happy because I heard a lot of people say they like the time after the Christmas holiday, which we had this year. And so we will kind of have that again for next year based on this proposed district calendar that you see here for 25-26.
Just making sure that we provided the opportunity for input from our union partners and from MECP, and like we said in the contract.
Yeah, that's later on for more of what we call our leveled calendars.
Okay.
This is the basic calendar. Yes, we will getting there. We've already had
I just
those.
remember that being a real big deal
Yes.
during bargaining.
We bargained that. We honored
Okay.
the contract.
Okay.
We've talked about that already for upcoming.
Is there other questions for Andy or comments? All right, then let's move for a motion.
I'm fastest on that button. I move approval.
All right, I second. So let's go on to a vote, starting with Director Barrow.
Barrow, aye.
Ender, aye.
Selena Lopez, aye.
Franklin, aye.
Rumor Jerson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
When I.
Awesome, has been passed. Thank you all so much. So that is the starting point for our calendar next year. Thank you all. Going to the board policy. So this is a first read. We did have a lot of policies this month in a very short time. So we still have a little bit more time until our second read, which is, of course, when we would make any action towards that. So yeah, I'll kick it off to our policy committee.
Yeah, so we have a few of us on the board who are going through this. The whole board goes through it, but we've got a policy committee that is going to be specifically looking through things and have already reviewed some things, getting into language. There's a really helpful cheat sheet from Lori that we'll share with you all. We've kind of looked at it. It just gives a little bit more detail into what we have here. So it allows you to focus, break it down, what's being changed, where do those changes come from, what's being deleted. Significantly, as we dove into it, you've got some policies here that are being deleted because there's other policies that will cover that. So there's no need to have broken up very specific policies when we can bring it all together and make it more easy to read, more easy to remember, more easy to actually enact. So I think this is a good place to start, and I welcome comments from other board members in the interim as we bring it to second reading.
right, that sounds good. Anyone have any other thoughts on any of these?
No, I will say though that when we met for policy, Althea had some great questions, like in-depth questions, and we had really great discussions around it. So I'm very happy that we're going through that process together. But if anyone ever wants to join us, we're going to meet once a month, even if this isn't up once a month, because there are other things we want to look at. So as long as there's less than 4 of us.
That's true. I wanted. Oh, yeah. Go for it, Aaron.
I just want to put it out there. If it is an official committee, it's we have to make sure that we're following sunshine laws, that the meetings are going to be recorded, that they're going to be a public announcement and open to the public for attendance. So it's. I was just given that warning a couple of years ago when we were talking about policy committee. I want to make sure I pass it on to you both too.
Yeah, we tend to use the term like policy group as opposed to a committee because, yeah, once it's a committee, then you have to do all the posting and everything. So just the title, that's all. Because that really is what it is. It's not necessarily a committee. It's just a few of us getting together and doing a pre-look.
Yeah, thank you for the correction. And it does say policy review group. So that was my I was misspeaking.
And I will say one thing that came up when we were discussing, because other people might have this question. When you look at these, there are some policies that have similar codes, like GBN/JBA and then JBA/GBN. And when you look at them, they look exactly the same. And the reason we have them is because one is under the personnel section and one's under the student section. Just explaining to that because I'm sure people have the same question.
I have one question. In the board member standards of conduct, is that one that you all have been thinking about making any recommendations to add to? Or I was just looking through it in some more detail and just kind of wondering about.
Yeah, nothing's come up yet that we didn't really focus on that one. But if you have any ideas, we're happy to put it on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certainly a going list of policies we want to create and look at, but we want to keep those policies separate than these giant bulk ones that we receive that we have to act on, so that everything doesn't get kind of lost in translation. Because we talked about possibly bringing forth the one that went with today's resolution, but we want to do them separate so it stands out, and we can really discuss it. So if any policy you want us to look at, send it to us and we'll. You mean, but what I mean is changes aside from what is required and was sent to us.
Okay, can I just Jose explained it perfectly, but just to clarify, this block of policies all came from OSBA. So I think what Jose's saying is the blocks, and we have more. We're kind of backed up a little bit. We have a board here, and so there's more coming, and we're going to try to bring those blocks to you. And what Jose is saying is those blocks are going to come trying to stay separate, but then on top of that, the policy committee is working on has ideas, visions for other policies. So one of these policies you might pass in the second read next time, and a month later at the Jose or Hua might bring it back with these other changes. I think they're just trying to keep it a little bit separate so it doesn't get confusing.
Some laws and things that come up require us to have certain policies in place, but that doesn't mean we can't be more specific, but we still have to pass certain things to keep them up with what the standards are.
And I'll add another piece then, since this is a great pre-discussion, because when you faced with like all these policies to review and change, there should necessarily be a lot of questions. So it's important that we start with a good shared understanding of what we're being asked to do in this next month here. When we start going into these in detail, I think you quickly you come up with questions about like, okay, so why is this being recommended? Sometimes it might be more obvious. Sometimes we might get a footnote here or there. Thank you, Lori. But those are the kinds of questions and discussion that we're kind of inviting the board to bring back and talk amongst yourselves to get those things ironed out even prior sometimes to the next time we get to meet. I certainly had some of those questions. So like take a statute that is mentioned in one of these policies, you go back and look at it, and then you go wonder why there's one of the provisions is not in there in our policy from the statute, like why this, that, and A, B, and C, but not D. And I think there's good explanations for most of them, but we just want to dig into that kind of detail, because that's gonna give us confidence that we aren't that we are making policies towards our community values and working in the right direction.
I just want to say thank you to Erin for your many years of working on the policy. And it also, thank you. You've done a really great job. And it's also great to have like a lawmaker look at this, a lawyer, and someone who's incredibly fastidious, just in general, about all things policy. So great teamwork. And I look forward to, being more thoughtful and having more eyes than a lot of times just Erin or Erin and Hua. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I did have a question on the ones that are recommended to be deleted. So are those being replaced, or they're just completely deleted as possible? Some of them I think make sense, but then other ones I didn't know if it was going to be replaced, or if it's because it's in a totally different policy.
Yeah, so some of this is guesswork, so feel free to dive in. I didn't get anything for sure, but when I looked at, there's one in here that is not being deleted. That's like halfway down, policy GBEB, personnel, communicable diseases in schools. That kind of policy seems to cover some of the other policies that are being deleted. I don't know if that's an accurate portrayal of what's going on here. I'm looking at Mike for nods.
That's exactly right. So
Okay.
A lot of the times you'll see a 1-for-1, you'll see a delete, and then you'll see the exact same number, and they've just deleted it because there was so much change or such a tweak in the law. And then other times there is, hey, wait a minute, this topic's double covered. And again, it's OSBA recommendations. Some of them are required. If the board ever looked at it and said, why are we deleting this? And it didn't say it's required you delete it, then the board could talk about that, right? This is what the board tries to say is highly recommended, required, optional, and all of that shared with the board team as they look at it. So there is some leeway there that we don't want to delete that. We understand it's here too, but we really like that. So, and if there's ever that pathway you'd like to go down, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll reach out and clarify with OSBA between Lori and I, and just make sure, hey, we really think this policy is powerful, although it's embedded in this one. So anyway, 90% of the time I would say it's a 1-for-1 delete because we're adding, but there are other things that Athea probably said it better than I would, that, well, it's covered under this policy, so they're really just kind of cleaning it up because we don't need the same topic 3 times.
I'd like to offer a bit of a clarification too. There was many nights when Wa would be exhausted from working at the State House, but she'd jump online with me at like 8 o'clock and we'd read through these together for years. So I was thinking about that today. Actually, I was thinking about things, and that really struck me at how big of a thing that was for you to take time out of your schedule, even though you were doing so much more for our state. So thank you, Wa.
Well, it helps me become a better legislator, right? So I have the direct impact, so I bring that input to the state. So it kind of all intersects with one another. So, and at the end of the day, it makes me a better board member, also makes me a better legislator. So, I feel like I should earn an honorary degree after all of this, but, but no, it's been great.
We'll give you a diploma.
Thanks, everyone, and looking forward to next month. We'll have some action on these and potentially some new policies. Following up is a bond update with Pat.
Good evening. You got a memo late today. Sorry, we were trying to gather a little bit more information because we had a few questions pop up. And so Career Technical Ed Center, you see that is fleshing out there. That seems to be going along well. Summer work will be final sidewalks, canopies, and landscaping, and then fall will be all the interior finishes and completion. Now I'm going to get into the rest of the high school campus, and you're going to notice a theme of non-conforming conditions. And so North High School renovations, and so we thought, oh, you know, the only thing we have to do is the bleachers, but I just wanted to point out a few things that'll be happening. Parking lot driveways will need to be replaced. We need to do some expanded plantings. Luckily not trees, but we do need to add additional plants to meet the requirements. And this is all due to the CTE Center. So they're trying to make us kind of catch up on some things, and they have a certain dollar threshold that we have to meet. I do want to bring to your attention the gym bleachers. We had put those off due to timing last summer. And as we're getting ready to put those back on the docket for this summer, we were alerted that we may need to look into some reinforcements. Those bleachers in there are a little antiquated, and the new ones might need a little different reinforcement to keep them in place. Reminder that we have some that are kind of on an upper level. So we'll find out. We'll be actually starting some discussion on that with the architects on Monday, just to confirm what needs to be done and what, if any, additional cost that might be. Aquatic center, so just a reminder, we're adding a non-slip texture to it. It won't be like the old pool building where we actually had some patterns in the concrete. It'll be an epoxy coating that will need to be retouched every so many years. Again, we're talking more about plantings, yay. And we do anticipate that the pool will need to be closed at least 7 to 8 weeks for that work. So we are replacing one set of bleachers in there also. And so just so folks realize that, we will be needing to send out some communication that the pool will be closed for a certain period of time. PAC, we're replacing the theater roofing. We'll also have to do some duct work for the HVAC system that's tied in. We'll be doing the lights and sound systems. And this one's going to get a little new pathway. That's part of the non-conforming conditions, but I think it'll also help. If you notice, there is a tread line from feet that go from the breezeway to the PAC, and so they'll be putting in a path for that. Let's see, South High is going to be off, so folks won't be able to access. We'll need to think about probably the August meeting, any summer meetings we have. You'll see the AC for here will be wrapped into that. We will have a redundant system here for this room also. We're having the roof replaced, a new water pipe put in, fire alarm, intercom systems, the vestibule, renovations to several of the classrooms, as well as the old district office area or the current makerspace area. Some other items on the campus, the football field and baseball field lights will be replaced, and we'll be adding some intercom systems out there. And a reminder, the old auto shop greenhouse and greenhouse classrooms, those were all bid out to be demoed in January 2026. So that's after we move everything out and transition folks. Let's see here, Gilbert Heights, Alisat, Gilbert Park, pretty much all done. We're in the starting the warranty phase of any type of work issue that we see there, going into warranty and asking contractors to come back to fix anything that didn't meet requirements. Cherry Park, still working through the lack of payment for subcontractors. We did have the HVAC folks come back. They are still doing some tweaking and work on the system, as they do need to do individualized what do I want to say? I'm at a loss for words. They need to go in and calibrate each room, in essence. Low voltage electrical will be working over the week. That should say weekend. You can tell how fast I was typing this. To finish their outstanding items. We will be starting some commissioning work just to make sure everything is working as it should be. And there'll be a few items like the brick ceiling. We expect that to be done when it's warmer out and drier. North Powellhurst, we have a little bit of a workmanship issue on the flooring in the restroom. Otherwise, the work's completed. We did get a request for some shades. There's some windows above doors, and they're getting a lot of light in so we were trying to accommodate that with some shades. Deerdorf, you'll see on the contract list that we have someone coming in to do infill on the homes and where the septic tanks were. Mill Park, I do want to bring this project to your attention. So this one kind of grew and grew and grew. We had a few items to be done through the bond. Then we got the FEBA grant, which is for the seismic, but it wasn't as much as we had requested or expected. And so part of that is if we do the work, we have to make up the difference. So just a reminder that the district received about 1.3 million. Right now, the preliminary estimates for the roofing and seismic upgrades are 6.8 million. So we did have some of the roofing included in the bond. The window replacement is coming in higher than we anticipated. So this one is having a little burst budget problem. So we're waiting. It's out to bid. The first phase is it's going to be over 2 summers. HVAC will not happen until summer of 2026. We may do some duct work and preliminary items for where we're working in the building for this summer. But we'll bring this back to you next month. We anticipate the bids will be in by that time, and then we can make a decision about pulling funds in. We do have some unallocated funding still in the bond projects, and so this may be one where we want to reallocate. We also are seeing some savings on a couple projects from this past summer, so we'll be doing some budget adjustments, bringing those back into the overall project contingency, and then potentially moving them here to help cover. South Powellhurst, Floyd Light, West Powellhurst, we should have some final bid numbers at the February meeting. For Ridge is currently out to bid. We do have our bond oversight committee meeting on Monday, and they'll come in February to present.
Thank you, Pat.
Quick thing that's not on there recognized, because it's not necessarily the bond, but it has to do with the bond work, and I just want to elevate it to the board's attention. So we all know at this table that the CT Center's timeline got backed up, so now it's not until the middle of the next year, which is, we understand, we're all probably sad about it, but it is what it is. I want to flag that on this report that Pat just gave, that this summer this south building's going to have a lot going on. My point is that a lot going on changes the use of this. The original intent was that the change of use of this will align with the CT Center being done. Now it's not going to be done. So we're going to have the south building with changes, CTE not ready, and we're struggling with that a little bit right now. So I just want to draw your attention to that. That's something you might hear about. You might hear teachers talking about. The high school administration is just kind of like, okay, well, if we're going to put this here, but we can't put that there yet, where do we put it? How do we do it? So we're looking under every rock right now and trying to develop we will develop a plan of how we cover that, but it's not as neat as it was originally planned, and there are some questions that we don't have answers to yet. So I just wanted to flag that as part of this conversation, so you're aware of it. We definitely will update the Bond Oversight Committee next week when we meet with them as well, and we will land on a solution, but right now it's kind of like, if we're going to move, how do we, and then where? So it's just It's just real, unfortunately. The timeline got out of whack. So, go ahead.
And did we discuss that we were awarded additional funds through the second round of PSAF? Yeah. So we did get notification that they approved. They didn't approve the initial request for $100 million for the consortium, and they didn't approve the second lower request of 75. They went with 70. And so we're figuring out the dollar amount right now, but so you'll see also some larger construction packages coming through. And right now we are discussing bringing to you the potential of going out for CMGC, just because these projects grow and grow, they get more complicated. It's much better when we have that CMGC to work with the architect and kind of pre-plan or review and investigate any issues that come up while they're doing their drawings.
Wait, to follow up on that, Pat, so is the piece of funds then being used for similar bond work?
It's going to be used for additional HVAC.
HVAC, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, and probably solar, because we need to meet a solar requirement or a geothermal requirement.
With PSEF or?
That's in general with construction.
In construction, okay.
And so we're kind of going through and making sure we're meeting that target with our projects. So you'll be hearing us adding solar, which you'll be like, we didn't initially say that. That's why.
Thank you, Pat.
I have some follow-up pool questions. Do we know timeline-wise when the 7 to 8 weeks, like the start's going to be of when the pool is shut down?
I don't have that on me. I'm going to guess it's going to be with the alignment of the rest of the campus being shut down for summer.
Mm-hmm.
So probably right after teachers leave up until the week teachers come back.
Okay. So that's 3 months though. So like we're end of mid-June we're looking at?
So you're looking probably the third week of June to the third week of August.
Okay. And then I was curious about you said the north bleachers are going to look like the south bleachers. Are you saying that the red and black bleachers are going to be replaced with the metal bleachers?
I don't think they're metal bleachers, but I think they're a similar style of bleacher. Because I think the ones, I can't remember, ones pull out and ones don't.
The pull-out ones are going to be the ones replaced, right? Or the...
I believe it's the pull-out.
I'd hate to talk out of turn.
They're not wood.
Well, we're talking, Heather's specifically talking about the pool bleachers. So we do have two conversations going on, because part of the report as well was our main bleachers in the gym are being replaced as part of this as well, which we have to talk about reinforcement. But the pool building is part of the scope of the bond, because they're replacing a section of bleachers. My understanding is they're replacing them with plastic bleachers. Is that your question? Or is
the wording says replacing the north bleachers, and they will look like the south bleachers. So I'm trying to understand what that means.
Oh, I'll have to.
Let me talk with them and get a little more clarification, and I could send you that.
Okay. And then the epoxy coating, can you clarify? So that's like I think I know what you're talking about, that surfacing that you paint on.
So I think it's an epoxy coating, and then they add like a grit to it.
Okay. Okay, because I think that, right. I think that there's just been a lot of questions that I keep getting on. Are they going to tear out the concrete and replace the concrete, or are they etching it like the old? But this sounds like it's not neither, is what it sounds like.
Right, they're not etching the concrete. And I think you also asked a question about there was an area by the grate, and that's part of what Pence has already bid out for the work during the summer.
Okay, good, because that there's a pretty bad hazard space there at the front corner by the lobby. And they've been putting cones over it, but I've seen kids trip on it. It's a hazard, but it's a easy break spot. I think it's been replaced multiple times. but I don't know, that's just something that keeps coming up that I keep hearing about, is that corner, great, the pool deck, and then like timeline, especially as they're trying to schedule lessons. And, you know, I also want to follow up with this because I believe we're going to have summer school taking swim lessons over the summer. So we'll need to make sure that this is communicated out, that's going to, sounds like it's going to put that on hold too.
Yeah, right now the communication is just starting to roll out. So the two pieces that this is supposed to be, I'm going to use the term here because it's really not, but it's the worst case scenario. And I'm saying that because closing the pool, I think, is the worst case scenario. The reality, though, it's not worst case because it's very positive. We have this bond, the ability to update our facilities, so that's a good thing. But we're right now in the process of starting to communicate this out with everyone to make sure they know there's a possibility we won't be able to use the pool for summer school. But we also are asking to clarify, is it truly 7 to 8 straight weeks? Is it scope of work? Is it pool decks one, and then we could use it, and then we could do the bleachers later? We're trying to clarify to make sure we understand exactly what it is, because if there's any ways we do not have to be closed for an entire 8 weeks, we'd like to be able to do that. But it might be, no, you have to shut down, you have to close, this is what it is. And that's what we're leading with, starting with, and getting that communication out to everyone involved.
Okay. And I'll follow up with you about the bleachers thing too. Thank you.
Sorry, everyone, I had to go to the bathroom. Did we had any more questions on the bond update? No. Did you address the Mill Park? Okay. I will look that up later. Thank you, everyone. So now going on to our agenda item, reflections on public comment. So this is open space for any board member or cabinet member or anyone here to comment on public comment. I think I just want to start off, in addition to, Happy New Year to everyone, just an appreciation to our district. It's School Board Appreciation Month, but really want to appreciate y'all because, we wouldn't be here without y'all and all the work that you do. Talking to or hearing from DDA and how impactful the contract has been is really, really heartfelt. I know that it took a lot of work, a lot of folks coming together to come up with that contract, and really happy with the end result. But yeah, I'm just really appreciative of everyone's hard work and appreciate you all.
Madam Chair, can I just real quick, there's been a lot of thank yous and gratitudes, and there really should be. And just some examples I just want to recognize. Stephanie talked about this week being busy. I think she met with Brooke about implementation, contract implementation. I think maybe Florence was in a meeting. I know meeting with Andy. So this week, at least 3-4 people. So the reality of settling the contract, amazing work, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. I know we already recognize Pat and her department think about getting the payments right, getting all the new salary schedules in, all that stuff, but it's continuing. And I just want to thank, again, DDA leadership for continuing to work with us, partner with us, be flexible, talk about what's important, how do we make it happen? It doesn't happen overnight. And then for everyone that's not in the room, just a recognition and a thank you. And I believe we've said it before, but patience, right? Because there are things that have been agreed to, worked hard to get there, that probably would mention and say it was hard fought, that still aren't implemented yet, right? Just because we aren't there yet. So there is some patience that our staff are showing. So thank you there, and we're continuing to move forward. We have a timeline. We're hitting those timelines, my understanding, and we will continue to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank our union members for giving us this feedback tonight. I mean, the process was so intense. We got so much feedback from y'all throughout. There's so much time spent in these rooms together, and just to hear some of the positive ramifications of everything that was done and said, and put into the contract is really, really pleasurable. It's nice to hear when things go well. You know, sometimes we hear about when things are falling apart, but to hear about when things are going well, it's really gratifying, and I appreciate it. Oh, and to the kids that came in tonight, I know their parents aren't here anymore, but that was so cute and just wonderful. So if you're still watching on YouTube, and I doubt it, thank you.
Just want to say that, you know, we're getting really close to the kickoff of the legislature, and it's going to be extremely important that we're all engaged in advocating for education and public dollars, and so much of what we want to do. I know that there are several bills that I'll be looking at. There is a proposal to raise the cap on SPED. So I'm going to be looking at that and advocating for those dollars because we know that we don't want this great contract that we have to have impacts because of what they do, right? And so it's really important that we're all there.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I really appreciate when teachers come and share their experiences and everything they're getting from the contract and what they're going through in the classroom. When we talk about these issues with our legislators, with people that can listen to us, it's so much more impactful when we can reference the stories that we have heard from our teachers. So having you all come and share with us is great. It means the world. I love it. It's probably my favorite part.
Anyone else? I just wanted to say something not related to public comment, but would be remiss to not talk about. I feel really uneasy tonight with everything that's going on in California. I have family members down there. I'm sure that some of us, or a lot of us, do. And yeah, I just feel really nervous and not right tonight. And I'm, just want to send all the love to folks here that have family or people that they know down there, or, if you're from that area and are here, it feels odd to be here while that's happening. And I think it's weird when that was happening in our communities just a couple years ago, and something that we might still be facing ongoingly, unfortunately. But I just wanted to take a note because I definitely feel a certain type of way tonight, which is not my usual state of being. But yeah, I just wanted to make a note. But I think if we're done with comments, going on to our last agenda item, which is board liaison and committee reports. If anyone wants to start us off. It's nose goes. But yes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I've got something I'd like to say. I've told a few people around the district, but I'd like to make an official public announcement. I'm going to be stepping down from my board seat. Just in the 6 years that I've been on the board, it just seems like things have gotten so much faster and more complicated in that short amount of time. It's been wonderful working arm in arm with y'all. Getting the chance to just learn and grow as a person has been invaluable. You mentioned honorary degree. I feel like I've gotten a doctorate in government over the last 6 years, for real. The next couple of years feel like they're going to be really tough, especially with the budget issues coming up. But I really feel like we have an amazing team here. And although I won't be here to support you in this seat, I'll still be here in spirit. But I know that you guys and gals, that you folks have what it takes to help the district navigate through. And the same with the administrative team. Yeah. I'm going to be just spending more time with my family, working on some personal passion projects. And I think I felt like the universe has been pushing me in a different direction. And haven't been wanting to heed the call, but the longer I push against it, the harder it's been just to be here and be present and to do my best. So, and that's what it's all about, right? Is we're all here because we love this district and we want the best for our kids. But honestly, if you need anybody to help set up tables or, show up for a committee thing or a feedback session, then please reach out and call. I still love to do that stuff. So I'm going to be probably at every cultural night we got. So I'll see you around. Thank you all very much.
Aaron, oh my gosh. I've been able to serve with you the longest. And I just want to appreciate you. I remember you reaching out a long time ago talking about start times and bus schedules. And, it was shortly after that you started getting more involved. And I will never forget when you first ran for appointment and you were right before Donna Barber, who was our first African-American woman to serve on this board. And you immediately said, I can't do this, right? It's not my time. She's so qualified, and you stepped down. And to me, that just shows what an ally you are in the fight for justice. And then, you won later. And I've just really appreciated your ability to go into spaces and use the obvious privilege that you have to advocate for folks. And whether that's at OSBA, on the policy committee, here in different spaces, your heart's truly in it. And so I just want to say thank you for your years of service. It's been a pleasure. And I know some of those passion projects you were telling me about, and it sounds awesome. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. And you know what? When I was a non-board member worried about the bus thing and I reached out to the board, guess who wrote back? And was and you, not only did you help me feel better, but you said, hey, come up and lend your voice to this. You took like a potential, someone turned me into an ally, even though I could have been someone that could have been, just yelling at you guys all the time. Like, come be an ally, and I appreciated that, and I appreciate you all. It's been, Oh, and Heather, thank you for giving me that initial push. We used to sit in the audience together, watching the meetings, and I remember when you said, "Hey, you should run for that seat," and helped me craft my first voter statement. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have won the seat. No doubt about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron, for your years of service, for working on the policy review group, for your work in bargaining, for literally being here for 6 years. That's a really big commitment. You have a elementary schooler worth of service, so really appreciate it and working with you. And we know we're gonna keep seeing you around. So see you later.
I just want to say, Aaron, it's been an honor to work directly with you. I think I've gotten to know you really well working with you on the policy review group. We had long 2-3 hour meetings just talking about policy, but you really gave me the space to really air my lived experience and really talk about the policy through. And so thank you for just being a great thought partner in that and really helping me through my first couple of years as a board member. And so I think I learned a lot from you, and I think I carry those skill sets with me, as a legislator as well as a board member. So I really appreciate the time that all those long nights we talked about just policy for 2-3 hours till like 10 o'clock at night. It's insane what we have to do to prep for this meeting. But yeah, I've learned a lot from you. So thank you.
Yeah, same. Thank you, Wa. I really appreciate it.
And I do not need to be last here, but I'm going to jump in. As you shared, Aaron, you have communicated with the entire board of your intention, but until it was official, we didn't do anything. Now it is official. My understanding, this is your last board meeting. Yeah. And with that said, I get the privilege to award a plaque to say thank you. It's tradition that we do that. But before I do that, I just want to echo what we heard here tonight and say thank you. Thank you for your service. There's many activities that all of our boards in, but I can tell you of the evening events, I can almost guarantee that we're going to see Aaron there one way or the other. not sure if you like to eat. Back to the food thing. It seems like, no, I'm teasing. Just truly the time that, it's like I'm making this event with my children and bringing them here to celebrate our district, and you're just there. You're present, and obviously that shows your passion for your district, your care for our district, and the conversations that we've had at the board level and or at the level of just a heads up, because you do have children in our schools, and kind of I noticed this and I wonder that. And the word that always sticks out is just curious. You always came with a curious mind rather than an accusing mind, rather, this is broke, this is wrong, more of curious, can you help me understand this? And or is there something we need to do to change this? So again, thank you so much. And with that said, it's my privilege to read the following plaque. The Board of Directors joins the students, staff, and patrons of David Douglas School District in expressing our gratitude to Aaron Barrow for 6 years of outstanding service to the community as a member of the David Douglas School Board, presented January 9th, 2025.
Yeah, we can mention. So, obviously, with Director Barrow stepping down, there will be an open seat. And because we're so close to election, we are going to wait until there is until the election concludes to see who would need to run. So, just putting that out there for interested parties. That we are waiting for that. There's a lot online with Multnomah County elections if you're interested, and you can feel free to reach out to us, the administration as well, about any questions. So that is our update for now. I don't know if folks had any other additional committee reports. I know we kind of got one from the policy review group. I don't know if you had more.
No, I'll say something else. Well, first of all, thank you, Aaron. I will say that next week is the President's Council. I'm going to go if anyone wants to join me.
Yeah, I didn't get notice.
I get the notice, but I don't know how. But I do get the notice. So I'm telling you guys now, is next Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning, very early in here. So that's, And I also wanted to share one other thing. I was at Ventura Park and at the PTO meeting, and they were talking about this Viking leader program where kids don't get referrals, they get these certificates and they become Viking leaders, and then they get jobs based on like higher grades, school-wide jobs, and lower grades get jobs in the classrooms. And the referral rate has dropped a ton. They don't, since implementing that program, they're like, we don't know if it's just this program, but kids really don't want to get referrals now to try to be leaders. And I thought it was such a creative way of tackling this discipline issue and putting it on the kids wanting to get that recognition, that I just wanted to share that. So.
I just wanted to give a kind of update, or like preemptive update. So for folks that have been around, now that we had a safety committee that met last year, I want to say, and we've implemented some of the things that came out of that, but we're revisiting that and potentially looking at what that committee could look like. And so that was open to anyone in the district, staff, students, and parents. And so we are going to, Isaiah and I are going to meet next week to talk about that, kind of revisit what happened last time and see what are the outstanding things that, still haven't been addressed, and then looking at what we could do with that space. I know it kind of ties into today's resolution because we have talked about potentially that being something where we talk about safety for immigrant refugee community members. I mean, there's a lot of potential, and, probably restructuring to some capacity what that looks like. But just wanted to give that heads up that there's more to come to that. There's still not a lot yet since I'm not met, but just wanted to loop back because I know it's been a minute. So yeah.
I have one more thing I forgot. This is not exactly committee reports, but I have the results of the OSBA things we voted on. If you guys want to know, I did get elected, so that's good. But the dues increase did pass, so we'll be getting the dues increase. The Pride Caucus did not pass, so we will not be forming a Pride Caucus. So there will be a lot of talks. It was not close. I have a list of it needed 2/3 to pass, and I think it's lucky if it got half, but maybe a little more. A lot of people didn't even bring it up because the chairs don't have to bring it up, so a lot of places didn't even talk about it. But apparently, I have a 2-day meeting in Salem in like 2 weeks, so we'll be talking about it then. And I'll be out of town from the 28th of January till February 8th or 9th. So sorry if you can't reach me, but it's all right between board meetings, so I won't miss anything.
I just have a question, and I don't know if you've thought about it yet, but with Director Barrow stepping down today, what can be expected for his committees and liaison schools? Because the election paperwork doesn't start until March. The election's in May. We wouldn't seat anyone until July 1st. We could seat early? Okay, in May. So, but still, that leaves quite a bit of time without those support.
Yeah, I mean, we can take time in our next workshop to kind of address it, because either one, we would reassign it to existing board members, or wait until that person is in office, like you talked about. And I think we could look at either of those things. But I do think we can see what is up for, like, what's under Director Barrow, and see what would need to be urgent versus, like, what could potentially wait, or we can kind of share that work and checking in with the schools. So I think we could do it in different ways, but I think that is a note to talk about it more in depth during our workshop. Thank you.
The one thing I think that I would advocate is for us to reassign liaison schools, because that's a lot of time. It's almost till the end of the year where somebody won't have a voice on the board. So that's it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our meeting today. Have a good night. Get home safe. Thank you very much.